After the game, the weekend, Leo was speaking and he said, look, my focus is immediately on the Sharks, because the last time we were beaten at home was by a South African team. How much of an appreciation do you have for how difficult the South African sides are going to be in the competition this year, and where do you feel that the Sharks will be able to test you this week?
Yeah, got the utmost respect for all the South African teams. You can see they're all riding high in the league. They've all started very strongly. I think they'll get stronger and stronger as well. Last year was the first time for them to be involved, so I'm sure they've learnt lessons along the way with regards to the travel, etc. So they're all going to be a force to be reckoned with. So whether they can test us, our maul defence wasn't as good as it has been last week. So we're going to have to tidy that area up. And traditionally, they're very strong in set piece anyway. So, again, scrum, line out, they're very competitive. So it's very much going to be a big ask of us, up front. So we're going to have to, improve a little bit on the game last Friday night against Ulster. We were good in some facets, not in others. We were genuinely happy with the first half. We just fell away a little bit second half. So, there's plenty to work on, but plenty to give us enough confidence to go into the game as well.
Just one last one for me. Jason Jenkins seems to have really slotted in well since coming this season. What sort of an extra dimension does he bring to the pack?
Well, he's got a different mentality, being a South African. He enjoys scrummaging. He enjoys hitting things. That's evident in his play. And all the South Africans are, they bring a level of physicality to the game. Very power-based, running harder on the corner. But Jason, in fairness to him, it's very hard when you're not playing regularly to build up your confidence, etc. And he's probably been unlucky with injuries over the years. But fortunately, he's kept a clean bill of health since joining us. I know the medical team, worked hard with him initially, so I think he's going to get better and better. The more minutes he gets under his belt, I think he's going to keep on growing, and he's definitely struck up a partnership with Mike Alatoa in front of him in the scrum and set piece time as well. So, like I say, he's putting himself about a bit as well around the park, which is great.
Thanks a million, Robin. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
Hi, Robin. Aisling here from Off the Ball. How are you?
Hi there. Yeah, very good, thanks.
Good. Do you think that there was maybe a main area that you came away from that Ulster game thinking that you probably need to spend more time on or improve?
Yeah, it's probably the more defence, like I said. We didn't get it right. Probably we looked at the last couple of weeks where we've gone Friday to Friday games, where really you're not able to sort of upskill yourself in certain areas. You're just organising, tinkering here and there. We've got a full week ahead of us this week, so it gives us a little bit more scope to work on certain areas. But it was definitely a good workout. You're up against first-class team in Ulster, playing at home in those conditions as well. So, I think they mauled every single line out. So, we just got caught out on a couple of occasions. So we need to shore that up, because I think the Sharks will come at us again in those areas.
We just spoke with Jordan Lermer there, and I just said to him about having a rootless streak when closing out games, that that's what Leo Cullen had said after the game, that you need to have more of that. Is that something that you've talked to the team about, or is it something that you've discussed?
Yeah, it is definitely. And there were certain times in the game where we needed to close it off. On Friday night, we went from having a 5-metre line out on Ulster's line, and before you turn around, they're on our line. So there's certain decisions that we've looked at during the course of the game, especially the last sort of 20 minutes of that match as well, that we could have steered away from certain areas that, we put ourselves under pressure without need to really. But to come away from Ulster with a victory, in those conditions as well, that was, first and foremost, that's what we needed to do, and we did that. So as much as we could be disappointed with certain aspects of the game, I think overall it was just a case of, getting in there, getting the win and getting out. Because, the weather did have a part to play in that as well.
Thanks, Robin. Best of luck at the weekend.
Thank you very much.
How you doing, Robin? Tony here in RTE.
Hi there.
You're talking about maul defence and how you're looking at that as an area of improvement, but how happy have you been with the attacking maul and your line-out? It's becoming a real weapon for you.
Yeah, like I said, there's certain aspects that we've been happy with. Again, it's the high standards that the boys are setting themselves, so you're never happy unless you win 100% of your own line out, and you go forward or you win a penalty or score a try every maul. So listen, when you come up against a good team like Ulster, who pride themselves on those areas as well, you've got to sort of be realistic in the way that you measure your performance. So there was plenty of good stuff there. I thought our intent from a scrummaging point of view early on in the game was good. Give us a great platform to launch from, put them under pressure as well. So yeah, really happy with certain aspects, like I said. So we just need to tighten up on one or two other areas.
Is a game like that almost the perfect preparation for meeting a South African side, going in terms of scrummaging and line out?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I mean, listen, the pitch stood up as well, so it was great, compared to the pitch last season. So, Fedu's the groundsman, he deserves plaudits for that as well. But it'll be the same again on Saturday. I know their approach to the game from a South African point of view, scrum first and foremost, and then they're going to test you out up front with the mauls. And in fairness, they've got a few variations in their delivery off line out as well. They've got a big threat in the centre, attacking the seam. So yeah, we're going to have to be at our best and shore up some of those deficiencies that we saw there last Friday night.
Last one from me is just, I don't know if you've seen it, there's been some experimental laws being trialled in Australia in the coming weeks where it's going to be 30 seconds to pack down a scrum once the mark is set, free kick to feeding team with the scrum of just 2 resets. I'm just wondering, do you think, would that make an impact, or do you think the length of matches is a problem at the moment?
I think those small little steps, they're all positive, because you want to keep ball in play time as high as you can. Make it an attractive sport for people to watch. So anything with regards to speeding the game up and increasing the ball in play, I think it can only be good.
Thanks very much, Robin. Go well at the weekend.
Cheers, thank you.
Hi, Robin. Jerry Corey here, the line out.
Hi, Jerry.
Just wondering how as a former player, Sean O'Brien has blended into the coaching setup, and how you generally feel he's doing.
Yeah, very well. I mean, he's very highly thought of here in Leinster, both as a player and a person. So, people tend to listen when he speaks, and I think he's obviously learning the ropes from a coaching point of view. But he's in touch with the game, having recently retired himself. I know he's still looking to play as well, but he's a great voice. He's very energetic, obviously, speaks his mind well, and the players react to him. So, yeah, it's great.
And then, Robin, as a former hooker yourself, I think I'm correct in saying that. How do you think Dan Sheehan's strike rate is at the moment? He's nearly worth a try a game the way he's playing.
Yeah, we're very blessed to have somebody like Dan in our ranks. You know, he's a threat with ball in hand. He got a vital turnover for us at the end of the game against Ulster as well. So, yeah, listen, his set piece is going well at the moment as well. So I'm really chuffed for him. You know, very lucky. He's a very, very strong player, a good all-rounder, and he's definitely a player that you can play towards his strengths as a hooker. You know, with that threat of ball in hand, around the tail of the line out, etc. You know, as we've seen with him as well. So. Yeah, no, you know, you've got to grasp the opportunity when it comes along your way, and Dan's certainly done that. You know, he's on the back of a great summer with Ireland, and you know, he's continued in the same form. So, you know, long may it last.
And finally, for me, Robin, just in relation to the match last Friday, how important was it for you know, to see the pack play well and you know, do a lot of score tries early on, and then finally keep out the Leinster attack later on, or the Ulster attack later on?
Yeah, you know, not being disrespectful to the previous two games. You know, this was the bigger challenge that we faced, really. You know, you're coming up against the good Ulster team playing home on a Friday night in front of a full house. You know, you're playing against your mates that you created a bit of history with in the summer. So there's a lot of things going ahead on Friday surrounding the game. But I felt the way we approached the game, our intent right from the word go, you know, that first 40 minutes, you know, was pretty flawless. And then, you know, to do enough to just hold them out. You always knew that Ulster were going to come back into it at some stage. But, you know, we managed to repel them on a couple of occasions. And like I said, we've got to look at ourselves as well. We didn't help ourselves with certain things that we did towards the end of that match. But, no, again, you know, to come away with a victory from Ulster, I think we've just got to take it, you know.